And thanks for listening to
Bon Radio.
And this is the show with no name. Time for liftoff. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Come on, keep up.
3, 2, 1.
We got this, folks. Let's go.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
After the hour.
Come on. Let's do this.
Get ready.
Yes.
Hold on
Yes.
to your
Yes.
hat. Strap
Yes.
on your
Yes.
seatbelt. Fasten
Yes.
your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat. Get ready for the ride of your life.
The show with no
It's show with no name time on Bon Radio. It's a show with no name. It's the show. Let's go.
That's right, amigos. Welcome. Welcome one, welcome all. Time for another exciting edition of our show. So much to do, so much to learn here on the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. And I know you guys are nice and warm. Nice and es bastante. I know you are nice and warm. Well, you warmed up with my buddy Fitz, right? And his program, No Excuses. You can catch Fitz every morning here on Vaughn Radio live at 9:30 a.m. Madrid time. Now, if you can't tune in, don't worry, just search for No Excuses wherever you listen to podcasts, and you'll be able to catch Fitz's show. The great thing about Fitz's show is he's got some amazing students on board, and I'm sure they will inspire you. They will motivate you. I know it. I was on the show the other day with Fitz talking about mi libro, and I was impressed. Thoroughly impressed. Oh, yeah. And speaking of mi libro, if you haven't gotten it yet, this book is the shit, is available everywhere.
Seguro que eres súper friki de Harry Potter y no te has dado cuenta de la cantidad de palabras que has aprendido sin darte cuenta. Por ejemplo, Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff viene de Huff and Puff, que es jadear, que estás agotado. Así que ya sabes por qué esta escuela se caracteriza por ser muy exigente y los alumnos van con la lengua fuera todo el día. They are huffing and puff.
¿Y esa escuela que se llama Slytherin?
Slytherin, ¿de qué viene esa palabra?
To slither es lo que hace una serpiente.
Claro, por eso en esa escuela los alumnos son capaces de hablar con las serpientes. Y de hecho en el escudo viene una serpiente, tiene lógica. ¿Y qué me dices de Ravenclaw?
Esta tiene mucha chicha. It's very meaty.
Ravenclaw viene de Raven, que significa cuervo, y Claw, que significa garra. Es la garra del cuervo. Y si miras el escudo, ¿qué es lo que hay? Un cuervo con las garras agarrándose. ¿Quién habría dicho que podríamos aprender tantísimo viendo Harry Potter? Sabes muchísimas palabras gracias a Harry Potter. Y no solo a Harry Potter, a películas, cómics, dibujos animados, videojuegos, todo incluido en This Book is the Shit, el tercer libro de Alberto Alonso
y Damián Moya.
No te lo pierdas, así se aprende.
This book really is the shit.
That's right, folks. And you can come visit us, amigos, in Barcelona. We will be there this coming Friday, which is June 16th. If you're listening to this live, June 16th at 6:30 p.m., we will be at Librería Alibrí, which is at Calle Balmes 26. Calle Balmes 26. Either way, you can Google Libreria Alibri. If you guys have been living in Barcelona for a long time, you are probably familiar with it. So, folks, welcome aboard. What a great show we've got for you. Let's get right into the swing of things with today's pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. That's right, amigos. Welcome to our pop quiz. Courtesy of Kyle Miller, my good buddy Kyle Miller from Canada. And just be careful with that word. You say Canada, we say Canada. So we put the accent in a different place, my amigos. So you can check out Kyle's program every evening. I believe it's, don't quote me, check the schedule. That's another reason you should be following us. Follow Kyle, follow Grupo Von, follow me, and you won't miss anything. Plus, you can interact on Kyle's show, which, as you know, is called Drive Time. Follow him on social media, follow Vaughn, and play along. Don't just listen to Vaughn Radio, but really interact with Vaughn Radio. All right, well, here is Kyle's translation. It's from his Twitter translation section. And this is a very common phrasal verb to use. I've heard it a lot in Spanish. I've heard it a lot in English. All right, so tropecé con Juan en la librería. I changed it. He put metro. So tropecé con Juan en la librería. That is your Twitter translation coming to you from my good buddy Kyle Miller, Miller the Driller. And good luck. If you'd like to participate, you can do it in our virtual chat room. You can participate. Most people, I believe, participate on YouTube, but some of you participate on Facebook. Well, it doesn't matter, even if you participate on a piece of paper. And let me remind you, we got our 20 hasta el 20. And what is that? You get a 20% discount. 20% off. That's right, 20% off. That's a lot. Think about that. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about our Vaughn intensives, our summer intensives, 20% discount, but that's only until June 20th. So make sure you jump on this offer. 20 hasta el 20. So today's the 13th. If you're tuned in live, you have less than a week. And I highly recommend this. I mean, as I said, before I started, even after I started working on the radio to make some extra money in the summer when I didn't have radio, I did summer impacts. So now they're called summer intensive. Same idea. They are amazing. I mean, really, if what you're looking for is a boost, you're like, I feel stagnant. I feel like I'm at the same spot all the time. I've hit a plateau, as we say. Then it's real simple what you have to do. You got to get in touch with us. Go to our website, grupovon.com. Give us a call. Contact us on social media. But before the 20th, if you want to take advantage of this 20% discount, and normally, I mean, discounts are like 5%, 10%. 20 is a nice, hefty discount. And the word hefty is grande, hefty. All right, well, my amigos, Let's see who's in the chat room ready to rock. Good morning to each and every one of you. And before we even get started, that's for you. Seriously, keep it up. Keep up the great work. Those of you who are with us live, those of you who tune in via podcast, I can feel you. And it was great to see you once again, all at the book fair. Amigos in Barcelona, I'll see you this Friday. Yeah. And if you haven't gotten the book yet, what are you waiting for? I mean, you're not convinced? Really? You listen to me or watch me every day, but you're not sure if you want to get my book? Okay. All right, amigos, let's check in with our super show with no namers. In the house, we got Born to Iron Man checking in. And Born to Iron Man says, morning, folks. Morning to you, Born to Iron Man. Great to have you on board. And I know you're ready to rock. There's no doubt in my mind. There's Kubla. Kubla says, hello, sympathetic individuals. Bear with me if I screw up. Well, wait a second here. Wait. You're not allowed to screw up in class? Who made that rule? I never made that rule. In fact, if you don't screw up, you don't really need me, do you? Right? So I'm here to help you. But if you don't leave your comfort zone, you never screw up. And then we don't really make progress. So the more we speak, the more we can identify problem areas or weaknesses, if you will. Or the word that we looked at yesterday. Do you remember it? Shortcomings. Shortcomings. Donde no llegas, no das la talla. We all have them, right? The story I always tell is my student who said, Alberto, I don't do mistakes. And I said, bueno, es make, pero okay. But then I thought about it, and I know the student didn't mean this. Because you can say, I don't do movie theaters. No es lo mío. I don't do lo que sea. It means it's not your cup of tea. But that's not what the student said. No son lo mío. Quiere decir, no cometo. And we know I don't make mistakes. We don't say commit. We say to make mistakes. It's easy. It's got that double M. It's got that alliteration. So yeah, make mistakes. That's how we learn. Kubla says, I ran into Juan at the bookstore. Nice job, Kubla. I ran into him. Remember, run is an irregular verb. It's a tough one. It confuses people, even native speakers. Like, you should have ran. No, run. So it's run, ran, run. Vuelve a run al final. It's like come. Coge la misma estructura de come. Come, came, cambia, y luego volvemos a come. Right? So it causes a little bit of confusion because it's exactly the same. The only difference is the v, I have, or he has, adding that modal verb. So I ran into Juan at the bookstore. And let me ask you this. If you run into somebody in your car, is that un atropello? Yeah, absolutely. You can run into somebody, and even worse, you can run them over. Pasas por encima. Yeah, that I don't. I got hit by a car, but I didn't get run over. The car ran into me, but I didn't get run over. You see the difference? And don't forget, run is not just obviously correr, but it's also manejar, llevar, no? He runs the company. She runs the finances to run. Also, with elections coming up in Spain, who's running for what office? ¿Quién se presenta? So to run for something. Good. Excellent. Kubla. There's okay. Born to Iron Man. You've got it. Another way to say it here. I bumped into Juan in the bookstore. Awesome. Now, to bump into or to run into. The good thing about bump, it's regular. No hay que pensar mucho. To bump into. Regular verb. Awesome. I bumped into her the other day. All right? To bump into. And what's the difference here, Kubla? Because Kubla put at the bookstore and Born to Iron Man put in the bookstore. They're both correct. In fact, great job. They are both totally correct. The difference is Kubla's can be more, it's more open. Because if you say I ran into him or bumped into him in the bookstore, estabas dentro de los cuatro paredes. But at the bookstore can be, bueno, puede que estás dentro, puede que estabas en la puerta, puede que estabas en el parque. It's a little bit more open, that at. Y mira, en el caso de Feria del Libro que vimos el otro día, we weren't in the book fair because it's outside, right? And we weren't on it porque encima no vas. So it has to be at in that case. Y lo mismo con empresas. When I first started working here in Spain, a lot of my students said, I work in Vodafone. And you know what? I get it. But normally you would say, I work for Vodafone or I work at Vodafone. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it. So it's just a different way of expressing. I don't know if it's wrong. I work in, well, you mean in the organization, then you say I work for that organization, you know? Or I work at that office up in Las Rozas. So those prepositions can be pesky. What is this word? Pesky? Molesto, maybe? Let me take a look at it. Pesky. P-E-S-K-Y. Yep. Molesto. Inoportuno. Problemático. All right. Anybody else? I'm thinking of another way to say it. Fellas, great job. To run into somebody. To bump into somebody. And both of you said bookstore. Bookstore. Can we say bookshop? Yeah, absolutely. You bet. Of course we can. Bookstore or bookshop, and in or at, just know the difference, right? Can anybody give me a third way to say it? I know you guys are brilliant. That's why I'm asking. So I ran into him. I bumped into him. Okay. Another one? Tope. You say topar con alguien, I think, in Spanish, right? What was the way Kyle said it? No me acuerdo ahora. Kyle said, yeah, tropecé. Okay. Que tropezarse is to trip a secas. Right? I tripped. Ooh, careful. You tripped over the plug, el enchufe. To trip. De hecho, cuando alguien siempre me lío con atropellar y tropezarse. When somebody trips, cuando se tropieza, no se atropella. Hey, believe me, me cuesta la vida esa. We say, did you have a nice fall? How was your trip? Did you get the double meaning? The double meaning? Did you have a nice fall? Buena caída, buen otoño. Have a nice trip. Trip, tropiezo, trip, viaje. All right, let's see. Let's see if anybody knows another way to say it. Those are fine. These are great. They're correct. But you know me, I'm looking for one or two more that I can think of. Let's see. Kubla says, RV gave the example of the dog in the pharmacy. I'm not familiar with the example, Kubla. Sorry. Oh, okay. He goes on to say, if the dog's at the pharmacy, he's standing on his hind legs, ordering some drugs. Yeah, I guess. I don't know the story. Sorry. I always think of another one, too, when there's these weird prepositions like that, where a student of mine, Maria, she said, Alberto, the typical thing, how was your weekend? What did you do? And they have to, tell you in English. And she said, Alberto, I was in the opera this weekend. I said, Maria, she was about, 1 foot nothing. No, medía un metro nada. And she said, I was in the opera this week. And I said, wow, amazing. I had no idea you were a singer, honestly. You didn't strike me, no me pareciste. You didn't strike me as an opera singer. She meant at the opera, attending an event at the opera. In the opera, you're a performer. At an American wedding, too. If you're in the wedding, tú tienes algo planificado que tienes que hacer. You have to give a speech, maybe make a toast. Maybe you have to be an usher, acomodador, you know, bring people to their seats. Then you're in the wedding. If you don't have to participate, really, there's not really much you have to do except just have fun. You're at the wedding. Yo siempre prefiero la segunda. Who needs protagonism? It's the bride and the groom's night. All right, let's see. Kubla says, I stumbled into him. I like it. I stumbled into him. Great. I stumbled into him. I bumped into him. I ran into him. You know what's a good thing? The preposition is the same, except if you use come across. Nobody used that one. I came across an old friend the other day. Y ojo, to come across, no usa el into. Escucha como lo he dicho. I came across an old friend the other day. Ni with, encontrarte con, o sea, apunta esta. The other ones are easy. Run into, stumble into, to bump into. But to come across somebody, fíjate, no hay problema. I came across your brother the other day. I ran into your brother the other day. Now, what I would recommend, as I always do when there are many, many ways to say something, use the one that's the easiest for you to remember, the easiest one for you to say, right? Maybe you assimilate it really easily. You're like, claro, eso tiene toda la lógica del mundo. That's the one you should use, of course, right? But recognize them all. You know, that's why I like to look at synonyms, because maybe I'll say run into or, you know, bump into, and somebody in England will say, I stumbled into him the other day. And then another person in the same country will say, I came across your brother at the bookshop, the bookstore. That's right. We use both. In the United States, you can say it's an online bookshop. It's an online bookstore. Kubla says, I thought come across was only for things. No, not really. No, come across. I came across. You can come across. What is for, I think you got it the other way around there, Kubla. So you don't run into things. You do come across people and come across things. But we don't run in. I ran into an old picture of you the other day. Esa no. I stumbled into, it would be much more common to use come across. So guess what? The only one that wasn't used is the wild card. ¿Qué? ¿La carta salvaje? The wild card? Well, you call it el comodín. All right, well, guys, make sure when you're jotting this down, you don't just jot down the words, but use an example, because as we've just noticed, they're used differently. But that's cool. Hey, that's why we like to look at all the different options that we have at our fingertips. But folks, right now, I can't believe it, we've got to get moving to our first commercial break. We've got so much to do on today's show. We're going to the movies. We're going to learn English with music. We've got our extremely challenging pop quiz. No, not pop quiz. We just did that. Spelling bee, that's the one. Oh, man, let me see. Spelling bee today. Oh, it's going to be easy. I think today's spelling bee should be a piece of piss. ¿Qué? ¿Un trozo de pis? Pues si no sabes eso, no tienes mi nuevo libro. Sale en el capítulo de pis. A piece of piss. Un trozo de pis es pan comido. Facilísimo. And you know what? I think the Say What soundbite is going to be easy too. So look at that. Two of the most difficult sections, two of the most challenging sections here on the show. And I think you guys are all going to be able to handle them. We'll be right back with tons more Show with No Name. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the Show with No Name on Vaughn Radio. Oh, yeah. Welcome back. Don't forget, you got great shows here on Vaughn Radio all day long. Right after today's show, you've got Ximena Holidays Test Your English, followed by the Lunchtime Show with the wacky Rob and Andy Chiflados. You know it, I know it, that's why we're friends. After that, you've got Tash Pasqua and her masterclass in Back to Basics, followed by our newest edition, Jules Linares and her program, Let's Get Random, followed by Guy Williams and your daily history lesson at Western Civilization. And don't forget, after that, you've got Dave Boyce, the gifted, talentoso, the gifted Dave Boyce. Give him an instrument, give him a microphone, and get ready to have some fun. Dave Boyce and the Salad, followed by Kyle Miller and his program, Drive Time. All of those here on Vaughn Radio. All you have to do is download the free Vaughn Radio app. And right now, it's time for Say What? Say what? What? Yeah. It's the Say What soundbite. Go on the Show with No Name. Driving your brain insane. All right, folks. As always, we're going to hear a famous person speaking now, and you guys have to tell me what you hear in your best English. You'll have 4 chances to write it down, and hopefully you'll be able to get it after the 3rd or 4th listen. But right now, initially, I just want you guys to give me your feedback based on what you heard. Is everybody ready? Does everybody have a pen, a notebook, somewhere to jot it down, apuntarlo, anotarlo. Okay, here we go. This is the Say What soundbite for the first time.
Star Command, come in. Do you read me? Why don't they answer? My ship! Blast. This'll take weeks to repair. My ship is run off course en route to Sector 12. I've crash landed on a strange planet. The impact must have awoken me from hypersleep.
All right, there you go. I think I cut off a P. There's a P sound at the end. Hay un sonido P que creo que me lo he comido ahí en la edición. So I'll just give you the last word, sleep. Okay, ya no hay excusas. I love it. I'm like Fitz there. I'm like, oh, pero no se oye la última. Okay, sleep. Next, let's move on. All right. Every American, British, Scottish, Australian person would recognize that voice, even if they were saying something that had nothing to do with what they do. You catch my drift, me seguís? All right. I'm going to give it to you a second time now. Is everybody ready? All right. This is the Say What soundbite for the second time. Jot down what you hear.
Star Command, come in. Do you read me? Why don't they answer? My ship! Blast. This'll take weeks to repair. My ship is run off course en route to Sector 12. I've crash landed on a strange planet. The impact must have awoken me from hypersleep.
I put the P in for you. There you go, folks. All right, there you go. That's your Say What soundbite for the second time. You'll hear it another 2 times. I'm going to give you something right now. I'm going to give you an audio clue. From tots to tykes to teenagers alike, and even totally grown adults, toys have truly transformed us and taken us away. They have enthralled us and let our imaginations run wild since we were teensy-weensy whippersnappers. We'll take a trip down memory lane as we take a look at the terrific world of toys on this week's episode of FYI.
Welcome to For Your Info.
English.
You got it.
All right, so I just gave you the toy teaser. So it must have something to do with toys, I guess, right? If I gave you the toys teaser, and I just shared the episodes. By the way, a lot of times when I give you a teaser here on the show for an FYI episode, I usually share the link to the episode as well. And remember this, guys, if you're not in my community, well, if you're in my community, you have PDF documents. If not, you have transcripts. All the shows have transcripts. Now, there's no punctuation there. That's how YouTube does it. And I'm not going to sit there and put the punctuation in. I don't have time. So there's a good exercise. You can punctuate the transcripts of FYI. But remember, each week there are 2 episodes that come out. And in the toys episode, both episodes are available. But I always recommend that you listen to the first episode. Listen to them in order. So first episode, the one that comes out for everybody, and then the bonus one. Even if you've heard it before, it's always a good review. And what I do is I put some teasers in the first one to get you excited about the second part. So really, the podcast every week is a 2-part podcast, and they should be listened to together. Now, only the first part is available for everybody. Well, because you guys have enough free content, I think, right? I mean, you need more? You need more free content? I don't know. I think you got Vaughn Radio 24 hours a day, and plus all the videos and posts that we spend tons of time and energy doing. But when you guys interact with them, when you like them, when you share them, then it makes it all worthwhile. Hace que valga la pena. So thank you to all of you guys who spread the word. Que difundís la palabra. Thank you. Thank you so much, because that's the greatest way to grow ever is organically, right? Well, that's organic growth. And that's thanks to you guys our ambassadors. I love that word. I always have. All right, let's see what you guys had to say about our Say What soundbite. Let's see. Kubla. He says, it sounded like an American man whining about a ship breakdown that will take a long time to fix. All right, nice job. All right, and the word whining, well, yeah, to whine is like lloriquear. So he's like, I don't know if it's exactly whining, but it's a good word. So it sounded like an American man, no doubt about that. A ship has broken down, so he had a breakdown, averías. So breakdown is el verbo. He broke down. He had a breakdown es sustantivo. And also a nervous breakdown es una avería de los nervios, técnicamente. That will take a long time to fix. All right, great job. Wonderful. Let's see. Leo. Leo's always got some interesting observations to add. He says, today it's as easy as playing with toys to understand it. So are you saying, Leo, it's child's play? Hombre, pan comido. Another way of saying, we said a piece of piss, que es un poco vulgar, claro, hablas de orina. But it's child's play. Tú sabes las películas Chucky. Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play? En inglés se llamaban child's play. Y tiene ese doble significado. So he says, I think he's an out-of-this-world character who's crash-landed on Earth, trying to communicate with his homeland to infinity and beyond. Bueno, cuidado, Leo, has puesto the infinity, right? The infinity, y nos sobra el the. To infinity and beyond. Y, bueno, si no lo sabes ahora, I guess you're just, nobody's looking behind me on the video. If you're watching the live stream, there, aside from the audio clue that I already gave you, there's a visual clue. Remember, I have toys in my studio, and I say they're my daughters, but I'm lying. They're not really hers. They're mine. I share. I tell her to share. Well, I have to lead by example. Tengo que enseñar con el ejemplo. All right, anybody else? Going once, going twice. Great job to the fellas. If not, we're going to move on because you guys know time is of the essence. Aquí cuentan los segundos. All right, well, folks, I think you know what time it is. It's time for one of the most challenging sections on the show every day, our Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
That's right, amigos. It is our Spelling Bee, only on the show with no name. And as always, this is a section of the show where I'm going to spell some words for you. And what I want you to do is I want you to tell me what the words are, quite simply. All right? What else? You'll get 2 chances. The first time is not impossible, but tough, really tough. And the second time, I expect all of you, at least if you consider yourself an intermediate level student, I expect all of you guys to figure this one out. All right? Is everybody ready? This is round 1. Oh, and these should all be capitalized. Okay? All of these words should be capitalized. The first one is Target. The second one is ANHEUSER dash, capital B-U-S-C-H. The third one is E-X-X-O-N-M-O-B-I-L. The fourth one is F-A-C-E-B-O-O-K. The fifth one is N-E-T-F-L-I-X. And the next one is J-O-H-N-S-O-N space ampersand space capital J-O-H-N-S-O-N. Give me a second to breathe, will you? Wow, that was fast. All right, let's go on over to our chat room over here, and we'll see what you guys had to say. All right, anybody? Going once, going. Oh, hang on. We might have a winner among us. Let's take a look here. Wait a second. All right. First student to participate is Born to Iron Man. Let's see what he had to say. The first one is correct. The second one is also correct. The third one is correct. The fourth one and fifth one are both correct. And the sixth one? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They are also correct. All six of them. Nice job, Born to Iron Man. Also, Kubla right on his heels. Oh, man, right there. Looks correct, too. Excellent job. Wow. I went really, really fast. The good thing is you can sit back and relax, grab yourself a cup of tea, grab a cup of Joe. What is that? Joe? It's another way of saying coffee. And if you didn't know that, then you haven't listened to the coffee episode of FYI. All right. I'm going to go with round 2 over here. Is everybody ready? This is round 2 of today's Spelling Bee. The first word is T-A-R-G-E-T. The second one is a hyphenated word. A-N-H-E-U-S-E-R dash or hyphen B-U-S-C-H. The third one, E-X-X-O-N-M-O-B-I-L. The fourth one, F-A-C-E-B-O-O-K. The fifth one, N-E-T-F-L-I-X. And the last one is J-O-H-N-S-O-N space ampersand space capital J-O-H-N-S-O-N. Esto sería alguien dándote la información de una forma muy clara, ¿no? Si alguien dice, mira, este es el número de reserva, apunta. This would be somebody's like, okay, Mr. Ramirez, please jot this down. You got it? Let me repeat it. Eso es esa persona. Lo malo. No siempre nos toca ese. But how great is it when you're like, oh, yes, thank you. I have somebody that wants to help me. Like, there have been times when, I've called customer service and they're like, well, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, well, is this the wrong number? Who am I supposed to call? Should I call another company to complain about your company? Seriously. Well, speaking of companies, these are some of the companies that have faced scandals. Some of the biggest companies that have faced scandals. Some of them are corrupt. Well, a lot of big companies are corrupt. I'd love to see their books. ¿Qué? ¿Sus libros? Yeah. Bueno, nosotros decimos the books, sus libros de contabilidad. That's a whole nother story there. But the reason I chose companies that have had some problems, that have been controversial, is because today in 2018, Volkswagen was fined, and you know this one? A fine es una multa, a fine. And they were fined 1 billion euros over the emissions scandal. You guys know that emissions scandal, right? And 1 billion euros, which you think that's a lot of money for Volkswagen, honestly? Man, you know how I feel about cars, but then if on top of it, these car companies are lying to people and misleading people, oh man. Aside from getting us from point A to point B and beyond, automobiles are built into the very fabric of our society. They are a necessary evil. Therefore, we have a love-hate relationship with these vital vehicles. Rev your engines as we have a look under the hood and discover the captivating cult of cars on this week's episode of FYI. Welcome to For Your Info.
En inglés.
You got it. That's right, folks. Check out the Cars episode of FYI. And no, it's not based on the Pixar movie Cars. No, it's based on real cars. I know what you're thinking, but Alberto, you just told us a minute ago that you hate cars. Yeah, but am I making my podcast for me, or am I making it for you guys? For some people who may love cars. So I don't only do topics that I like. If you haven't noticed, in fact, some of the most challenging topics that I've looked at for me have been topics that I said, ooh, I don't know anything about this, or how do I make this interesting? And I remember a student told me, and it was great. It was a great comment. I can't forget who gave me this comment or compliment, cuando es bonito, un piropo. But they said, Alberto, if you can talk about donuts for a half an hour, almost an hour, both episodes, you can talk about anything. I said, you know what my answer was? Well, there's so many kinds of donuts out there. Just talking about what you can put on top of them. And then the cooking vocabulary, if you talk about a recipe. So great episode of FYI on cars. The only thing is, unlike the first one, before I shared the toys intro with you, this one, only the cars episode is available to the first part is available to the general public. The second part is, well, we'll see. Stay tuned. If you're very patient, who knows? It may come out soon. Either way, I've shared the link with you in our chat over here. But yes, Volkswagen was fined 1 billion euros, multado. That's a good double trouble. They got a fine, but they were fine with it because 1 billion euros to you or me is a lot of money, but to Volkswagen. And then, they're the same companies that are saying, oh, we're green, eco-friendly. You're liars. You're liars. You cannot be trusted, right? And it's the same as always. Let's take a look at these companies that I've chosen. The latest ones, the first two are pretty recent. Target, which is like Walmart in the United States. It's one of these grandes, cheap, big mega like warehouse places, And Target recently has had a lot of media attention because they put some clothing for young children, very young children. And the clothing was like, it had something where you can tuck in your genitals. Like it was like a trans, which again, let me explain something. You want to be trans, you want to dress, you could do whatever you want. Not in front of kids. Even whether you're hetero, homo, or both, or everything. Not in front of kids. And it was in the kids section. They literally had like the kids section with, here, if you want to hide your penis. And you're like, first, why are you mentioning the word penis to children? It's not right. Guess what? They were boycotted. And now it's funny because the people who thought that it's inappropriate, like myself, hey, again, I'm not saying the lifestyle. I'm saying in front of, bringing it to children. Why? I like to drink beer. I don't want children to drink beer with me or see me do it. You see what you get what I'm saying? That's my behavior as an adult that I choose to do. So just to clear it up, because I know people get offended very, very easily these days. I have nothing against any community. I do have something against going near my child. I'll kill you. That's personal. I don't care what you got between your legs. So Target, and they missed the target. Their stock has plummeted. Pero en caída libre, their stock, Target, because people said, what are you, crazy? These are children. You're indoctrinating. What is this? What is this? Is this a joke? This is not a funny joke if it is. And well, they've lost a lot of money because of that. And well, again, we'll see. We'll see if it's like a long-term thing. But that's what I was saying. They had so many people that were pissed at them, and maybe still cabreados. So they got the people who don't think it's right, like me, to do that in front of children or sell ideas of anything to children. Just let children be children. But now since the store reacted by moving the stuff out of the children's section and only having it for something like that, now the trans community is pissed off at Target. And then the people who were against it at first, so nobody wants to shop at Target now. Como decimos en inglés, that backfired. And well, you can check it out. This is all recent news. In fact, if you take a look at it here, let's see, Target stock. Yeah, it's a pretty big drop there. It's down 126. I don't know very much about this, but when it just goes like right down, you can see when it happened. I mean, but anyway, either way, the good news for me, I never shopped at Target. Well, if you just take a look at the clientele, you say, really? Am I one of these people? Really? Oh, no. Nothing against, the typical obese American, but no thanks. All right, folks, we're off to a commercial break. We'll be right back with tons more. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name, exclusively on Vaughn Radio. Oh, yeah. Welcome back, amigos. Welcome back. So much to do here in the second half of today's program. You got amazing programs all day long on Vaughn Radio, so keep it locked here. And don't forget, you've got until the 20th, el 20. The clock is ticking. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Well, if you want the 20% discount, who doesn't? It's our Vaughn Summer Intensives. You can get more information at our website, grupovaughn.com. You can also give us a call if you'd like at 911-3858-31. All right. Or again, social media. I know all of you, at least those of you who are here live with us. I know you all use social media because you're on YouTube right now or Facebook or wherever. Make sure you're following Vaughn. Follow me too. I'm always releasing things every week, almost every day. Aside from my books and things like that, you've got free content on social media. All right, folks, time for Homophones on the Show with No Name.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's homophones only on the show with no name. And my amigos, this is where we look at words that tend to be a little bit tricky and we see if you're familiar with them. Usually these words have more than one meaning. If that's the case, we'll take a look at that as well. Is everybody ready? All right. The first word is, how would I say this without saying it? Well, let's see how, I'm going to see how they define it over here. Okay, bien, me gusta. A silvery color. So, it's not silver. It's not as shiny, but same idea. You say gris. Okay. Pero, wait, es grises. Quiero plural. He visto muchos cielos grises. Bueno, en español eso es plural, en inglés no. Pero quiero que sea plural en inglés, ¿ok? Porque adjetivos no van en plural en inglés. So, me gusta ver diferentes tonos de gris. Eso en inglés sería, ¿ok? Diferentes grises, ¿ok? That's your first word. The second word is, and I always forget this word. Estaba intentando acordarme y no lo tengo. Pastar. It's when animals eat. Okay? Esta es en primera persona, no, normal. So, la vaca, las vacas van a pastar. So that pastar right there. Las vacas van a pastar. Okay? And then the first word is no gris, pero grises. So what are those two words? And do they sound exactly the same? All right? And also, I'm going to give you our Say What soundbite. This is the third listen.
Star Command, come in. Do you read me? Why don't they answer? My ship! Blast. This'll take weeks to repair. My ship has run off course en route to Sector 12. I've crash landed on a strange planet. The impact must have awoken me from hypersleep.
All right. Something about sleep there at the end. And we'll see. We'll see if you guys can figure it out. The good thing is I don't think you can speak much clearer than this person, right? The person is speaking crystal clear. Now, another thing is you're familiar with the vocabulary or not, but you can't ask for, somebody to really enunciate. Because some people we get here on the Say What soundbite, and it's like, all right. You're like, what? Try listening to anybody from Manchester or Liverpool. Good luck. All right, let's take a look. Oh, and speaking of, it looks like we have got a winner here in our Say What soundbite. Give it up for Kubla. Nice job. Nice job there. All right. Looks right, too. As I take a look at it, it looks great. All right. So let's take a look at our homophones. That's what we were doing over here. Homophones. The first person to take a stab is Kubla. Those are the words. And he says they sound the same. Interesting. Anybody care to agree or disagree? Is it because you guys don't know the words? Or you're afraid of making a mistake? Because I know you're here. I can see you in the chat. All right. Anybody else? All right. Well, Kubla, nobody else wants to dare answer this one. Guys, you don't lose anything. Like, I'm not going to take any possessions of yours or anything if you participate. All right. Let's see. The first word is the plural of the word gris. So let's look at the singular. The singular is gray. Gray. Now, it's interesting. Kubla spells it Gray, but it's also spelled Grey. What's the difference? US versus UK. So they're pronounced the same is the good news. The only thing is we spell it in the States with an A, like Kubla spelt it, and the Brits spell it with an E. Do you know what? I spell it both ways. It just depends which one looks better at that moment. I don't think about it much. But also, we use this word to talk about canas, right? You say, oh man, you've got some gray in your beard. You got some gray hair. No hay que ni decirlo, right? You got some gray hair. Tienes unas canas. Gray. So it makes sense, no? Son pelos grises, right? If you look at the color, it's gray. So, and then we talk about gray areas, right? Oh, well, that's a gray area. Eso es una zona gris, right? No es tan blanco y negro. It's a gray area. And then what is it? Isn't there a movie called The Gray Touch of Gray or something about Gray's Anatomy or something? No, I thought there was one about S&M, sadomasochist. I swear to God, there was some novel or me suena que hay uno ahí que se llama Gray's Anatomy or something like that. So gray, that's it without the S. Okay. Now, if we add an S, grays, right? I'm going to paint the walls in our new house, and I'm looking at some different grays right now. Okay. Grays, different grays. The second word is graze. It's a regular verb. So the cow grazed all morning. Okay. So now let's take that word without the D, right, in the present and see if it sounds like the first one. Okay. The cow is going to graze on food with many grays. Muchos grises. I don't know, making it up to make it make sense. So grays and graze. Graze, colores. Graze, to comer, pastar, como un animal. Do they sound the same? Absolutely. Nice job. All right, folks. There you go. Gray, and just so you know now, both ways are correct. Gray and Grey. Also, we got to finish up our spelling bee before we move on. We were looking at some companies that have been under fire or who have tried to do something and it backfired, or companies that have been boycotted. We'll take a look at each one, but they've all gotten some negative attention, some more recently and some in general. There are some companies that just have a bad reputation. Like number 4, Facebook. When I say the word Facebook, what comes to mind? Trust, confianza, security. No. They've even been, allegedly, digo alleged en todo, por si acaso. They allegedly interfered in elections. So that's dirty. That's really dirty. Interfering in democracy. I mean, I don't believe in capital punishment, but that might be a reason, you know? So, yeah, there's some companies, just the sound of them makes you think, oh, God, not that company, right? Facebook is one of those. That's number 4 on our list. Because when he came out, everyone's like, oh, he started it. The same story you always hear in his mother's garage. No, esa es la historia. He dropped out of college. Wait, are we talking about Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, or the other, or all of them? You know? So, yeah, Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg, as I call him. Yeah, trustworthy guy. Trustworthy. Eduardo says from Facebook, oh, here it comes. Well, you're coming to us live from Facebook. You must trust them. Look at Edu. So Target was our first one. The second one, Anheuser-Busch. This is the company that makes Budweiser, Bud Light, which is not an American company anymore. It's owned by InBev, if I'm not mistaken. So it's really funny because when I was in the United States, you know, I bought Budweiser and it said, you know, freedom on it. And then it said made in Europe. I'm like, oh, no. Wait a second. I thought it was supposed to be made here. And I thought, okay, all right. So that was one thing that a lot of people said, okay, but now you're not an American beer. You're European. Your owner, the holding company that owns it. I think it's InBev or something. And they own a lot of beer companies. But recently they had an influencer who's I don't know what the person identifies as. I don't follow the person. So I'm just going to say it. Okay, eso. Because I don't know. I don't want to misgender anybody here. So this thing on the internet did some publicity, you know, on Instagram or TikTok, I don't know, selling beer, right? Now, that's no problem, right? The only problem is, A, all your followers are children, young people. No. Remember what we just said? Do what you want. Just don't touch young people, please. Please. I mean, for them, not for me. You know? So a lot of people were like, wait a second. You're promoting this to kids, drinking beer to young kids? Because one thing is promoting it on a TV, but like to targeting the youth. And also it was very against their type. So I don't know if you know, I don't know the equivalent in Spain, but Bud Light is piss beer. Es la orina. Es la más barata. No cuenta ni como cerveza. It's the one you buy when you're dead broke. It's the one like that college guys drink and go, and like bang it against their heads. Right? That's Bud Light is not an image of like, you know, Bud Light, Dom Perignon, not in the same, you know, you don't get the same visual there. Bud Light, I think of like a redneck, un cateto, un paleto, but that's what they are. That's what they've always been. And then they started trying to target young people in the trans community. It didn't work out. Again, the people speak with their money, right? The third one, the good thing about me, going back to that one, the only time I ever drank Bud Light is when I didn't have a dime. No tenía ni un duro. So I don't have to boycott anything. Thankfully, I can drink a better beer or something that's actually beer. So you can look into these. These are pretty recent. Target, Anheuser-Busch. If you like to look at stocks, acciones, you can study what's happened, right? The third one I know you know in Spain, ExxonMobil, gas spills, oil spills. ¿Sabes estos tankers? I know in the north of Spain, we had a serious problem with that. And then you had, tons of them. How often? We hear about this too often that are, you know, crashing and ruining ecosystems. And then they get a fine, $2 million, which is nothing. And then the best part is, on their Twitter, they say, we're green, we're eco-friendly. It's like, you have polluted the planet more than everybody I know times a million. What are you talking about? So there's a lot of hypocrisy. That's another thing that these companies, the ones I've chosen, they're not trusted and they're usually hypocrites. So Exxon is out, save the planet. Okay, we'll start with you. Why don't we start with you? Like, make sure you take the necessary safety precautions when you're bringing oil through natural biospheres. Come on, And a lot of this happens because companies cut corners. To cut corners, escatimar, you say, no, vamos a usarlo con una persona en vez de con dos. No necesitamos el guardia. That's cutting corners. And then what happens? No había guardia. Entonces nadie vio lo que pasó y lo robaron todo. Y luego había. Okay, well, it's the choice you made. Facebook, I don't even have to tell you. Well, first, here's my deal with Facebook. Is anybody still signing up for it? I don't mean if you have it already and you've been using it for years and your friends are on there. I get it. You're like, bueno, pero es que tengo todo ahí conectado. That's what they want. But I mean like new sign-ups, Anybody rush it over to Facebook to sign up? I don't think so. Number 5, Netflix. They've come under fire pretty often. There's even some funny memes over there. They had one with Albert Einstein, and they made him black. And then there was one, again, this is the one that I think pissed everybody off, and their share tanked. And this was, they released, and I think it was only on the platform for a few days, a series or a movie called Cuties. And it was just showing young pre-teenage girls running around being sexual. And thank God that there are still people who are like, no. Again, the problem is not being sexual or which way you go. It's why in front of kids? What's the need? Then you have a different problem that's called, I don't even want to say the word, but then you have to go see a doctor more than anything. Because we all have we all have stuff we do, but when has sex ever been appropriate with children? Mixing sex and children. When is that? In what world is that appropriate? I didn't think so. And last but not least, Johnson & Johnson. And when I read this news, it killed me. I'm going to get into a little detail here now. Johnson & Johnson. In the States, when I was growing up, in the summers when it was really hot, and it would get like really sweaty down in your nether regions. Voy a hacerlo sin ofender aquí. Well, we would put some baby powder, talco, you say, baby powder, on our private parts. And then I read that it's causing cancer. And I'm like, oh, nice. You mean the stuff we've been putting all over our asses and private parts since we were children? And continue to do until we were in high school is cancer causing? How much of this have you sold? Oh my God. And then again, it's the same as always. They get a slap on the wrist. ¿Conocéis esta expresión? A slap on the wrist es un castigo muy flojo. No, le dan un psh the wrist is la muñeca. Como, no hagas eso. Tontito, ¿por qué haces eso? And life goes on. But again, look at the cases of Target and Anheuser-Busch. I'm sure there are a lot of meetings right now saying, what do we do? I don't know. I don't know very much about the corporate world. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. I gave you 6 companies that have a really bad reputation or have had controversy throughout the years. But I'm sure all of you could add some, especially here in Spain, some that are like, oh, estas siempre te estafan. Estos son estafadores profesionales. So I'm sure you can all add to the list, unfortunately, desafortunadamente. All right, but folks, we've got to move on. It's time for Double Trouble.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double, double trouble. Double, double trouble. I said double, double trouble.
That's right, folks. That's right. It's double trouble. And if what you're looking for is a challenge, don't forget right after today's show, you've got Ximena Holiday and Test Your English. It's the kind of show where you have fun, where you play, and you're challenged. Hey, sounds familiar. Well, Ximena and I are great friends, and we have a very similar philosophy, not just in teaching, but I think in life as well. We share a similar philosophy. So you'll see some of us are so different, and some of us are pretty similar. Guy Williams and I, we are so different. We're friends. We get along great, but we are like night and day. You can't be more different than Guy Williams and me, but that's beautiful for you guys here on Vaughn Radio, because you'll hear not just different accents, but different personalities, different outlooks. Maybe, my colleagues here at Vaughn Radio, maybe they trust big companies. I'm joking. All right, here is your double trouble for today. Is everybody ready? You got to use the same word twice, and here we go. Me voy a tomar un vodka con zumo de naranja en cuanto encuentre mi destornillador. So, me voy a tomar un vodka con zumo de naranja en cuanto encuentre mi destornillador. And I put the en cuanto over there too, because I want to see if you guys know that structure in English. So remember, the only thing here is you have to use the same word twice. And of course, you want to make sure it is grammatically correct. Me voy a tomar un vodka con zumo de naranja en cuanto encuentre mi destornillador. That is your double trouble, amigos. I can't believe it personally. We've got to go to our, time flies, our final commercial break. The good news, we'll be back in literally like 2 minutes. And then we've got 26 minutes to get everything done. And we will, even if we have to squeeze it in there. Get in there. All right, amigos. So many people participating here. Thank you so much again for your participation every day. Thanks for spreading the word. And thanks for having fun with me. I'm having a blast. I hope you're having a blast, and I hope you're ready for many more challenges up ahead. We'll see you in the fourth and final part of the show. So, stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name. This is part 4. Welcome back, one and all. So much to do in this part of the show. We've got to listen to our Say What soundbite. We've got to solve our double trouble. We're going to do Name That Movie. Let's see if we can fit it in. Jokes, famous birthdays, name that lyric. Oh my God. We really do have tons of stuff to do. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here in the 4th and final part of the show. We are ready to rock. All right, amigos, what do we have to do? Let's give you the Say What soundbite here for the first time. No, just kidding. The 4th time. You're like, what? Here we go, folks. Write down what you hear.
Star Command, come in. Do you read me? Why don't they answer? My ship! Blast. This'll take weeks to repair. My ship has run off course en route to Sector 12. I've crash landed on a strange planet. The impact must have awoken me from hypersleep.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. That's your Say What soundbite. We'll solve that in just a little bit, but we need to solve our double trouble now. And it's, me voy a tomar un vodka con zumo de naranja en cuanto encuentre mi destornillador. Let's go on over here and see what we've got. Kubla says, I'm going to have a screwdriver as soon as I find my screwdriver. That's correct. Nice. I'm going to have a screwdriver as soon as I find my screwdriver. That's right. Vodka and orange juice, that is like a classic. Vodka and OJ, you can say as well. OJ is another way of saying orange juice. But I wanted to show you, aside from being called a screwdriver, right? I wanted to show you that you guys say gin tonic. We don't. We say gin and tonic, right? Gin and tonic, vodka and soda, Jack and Coke. O sea, en Estados Unidos, you say vodka, cola. Nosotros el and, que a mí me chocó al principio. I was like, ron, cola, Mike. Ron. Yo decía ron y cola. Because in English, we say with and, right? Which ron cola don't worry, we call it a Cuba Libre. Cuba Libre, hermano. It's called a Cuba Libre. On Cinco de Mayo, we're having some margaritas. Screwdriver, yeah. Reminds me, too, of another one that's a Spanish name, a mimosa. Mimosas. Another one with OJ, with orange juice. And mimosas are champagne and orange juice. And you're thinking, that's a weird mix. Think about brunch. Ah, nice one for brunch. So I know in New York, when I used to go out for brunch in New York, they would offer you coffee and then they would offer you a drink. So part of the set menu. And you would find either a mimosa or a Bloody Mary. And I always went for the mimosa. I've never been a big Bloody Mary guy. I like tomatoes and juice. It's not my thing, though. Because every time I taste it, it's kind of different. Nobody makes them the same. So vodka, here you're like, okay, well, it's champagne and orange juice. Well, I'm sure they use Brut. Brut would be vino de este que es como champán, pero técnicamente no es. You say cava, maybe, Brut. So yes, I'm going to have a screwdriver as soon as I find my screwdriver. Also, Leo got it as well. Awesome. Kubla says, if I can ask, how are you and Guy Williams different? Well, I don't know how we're the same, to be honest. Our energy? Have you ever listened to his show? I mean, we have very different energy, very different pop culture references. Like he mentions history. I don't know very much about history. So I guess different tastes. I don't know. I mean, I haven't thought about it much, but I don't think him and I, like, even if you look at us, the way we dress, we don't like, which is, again, awesome. Because if everybody was like me, if everybody looked like me, act like me, and liked what I liked, that would suck, right? So I didn't mean it in a negative way, but I think we're extremely different. Just I've never seen him wear a baseball cap. I've never seen him curse on his show. Again, you would know better than I do, because if you're, I have to be honest, I don't listen to the show, because when I'm not working, I'm not listening to Vaughn Radio. I'm preparing future shows, preparing FYIs, but we're like night and day, I would say. I mean, if you just look at types, right? I mean, he dresses very formally and preppy, and I dress like like a street kid, like I'm still on the streets in New York, the pattern of I mean, lots of differences, man. I mean, I don't know if I understand your question. I mean, I used him as an example because Kyle and I are very different too, but Kyle and I are closer in age. So Kyle and I like the same music. We have the same pop culture references. Also, remember, there's an age difference as well. So do you want more reasons, or let's continue? Because if not, we're not going to be able to do our Name That Movie. Name That Movie. That's right, amigos. That's right. It's Name That Movie, only on the show with no name. And let's see if you guys can figure out today's movie. Here's your synopsis. A young man finds a back door into a military central computer in which reality is confused with game playing, possibly starting World War III. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so a young man finds a back door, puerta trasera, no una forma de entrar ilegalmente. A back door in a military central computer in which reality, la realidad, that's easy, is confused with or mixed up with game playing. Game playing? Jugar, un juego. Possibly starting World War III. Okay, la Tercera Guerra Mundial. Okay, this movie was huge when I was a kid. Oh man, I remember it fondly. I'll give you a clue. It came out in 1983, and it looks like we've got a winner. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Kubla. The movie is War Games. War Games, and it's a movie, as I said, it came out in 1983. It stars Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy. And I remember it too because the internet, was just getting big. Well, it wasn't really big, but we were just starting to discover computers and hacking and all of that. So this was all like really, really new, because now it's normal. The Matrix, these kind of movies where there's this alternate reality in this like world, this computer world. And this was the first cinematic reference to the word firewall. Firewall, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not very tech savvy, is something that protects your information, a firewall. And well, they used it. Now, if you say the word firewall, everybody knows what it means. But I imagine back then in 1983, like, whoa, he said there's a firewall. Well, maybe they're talking about the firewalls porque viene del bosque, ¿no? Cuando cortan para el fuego. So that was the first computer mention in the technical sense of the word. The movie is called War Games, and it takes place at the NORAD Command Center. NORAD, I forget what it stands for. North American something defense, espera. And I don't even think, I think ya se llama otra cosa, but when we were kids, NORAD is North American Aerospace Defense Command, okay? And now it's called North American Air, le cambiaron el nombre. So NORAD. When you think of like the people who are like, viene una esta nuclear, avisa al presidente, that's NORAD, okay? And well, NORAD was like, we're not sorry. We can't let you film in our headquarters, man. It's top secret stuff going on. We don't even want them to see the kinds of computers, the screens, the information. I mean, nothing. So they had to build what they thought, because they couldn't even see it. They didn't even let them see it. So they had to build a set of what they imagined NORAD to look like. Okay. And it cost $1 million. At that time, it was the most expensive set ever made. And yeah, I remember the movie very, very well. And the director said that it came out so good that he said that NORAD wished they had that kind of office. So the set was actually cooler than their offices. But well, nowadays we see the U.S. military, they participate in movies. You know, there's even an office in Hollywood where you can go, okay, we want to make a movie about Marines. What can you give us? But obviously, if you're going to make a movie about Marines and they're going to collaborate and cooperate, you're not going to make the Marines look bad, are you? I don't think so. I don't think so, sir. All right, let's take a look at war games here. Steven says, the whole point, la idea total, the whole point was to find a way to practice nuclear war without destroying ourselves. To get the computers to learn from mistakes we couldn't afford to make. So simulations. Except, afford es permitir el lujo. Except I never could get Joshua to learn the most important lesson. And David says, what's that? ¿Y qué es eso? And Stephen says, futility. Futility, como se dice. Resistance is futile, ¿no? Dicen la expresión. Well, futility is futilidad, fíjate. Futility se pronuncia en inglés. Futility. That there's a time when you should just give up. Que a veces llega un momento cuando tienes que dejarlo, darte por vencido. And Jennifer says, what kind of lesson is that? ¿Y qué tipo de lección le quieres enseñar con eso? And Steven says, did you ever play tic-tac-toe? I think you say tres en raya. Sí, tres en línea, tres en raya. Tic-tac-toe, we call that game. He goes, did you ever play tic-tac-toe? And Jennifer says, yeah, of course. And Steven says, but you don't anymore. Pero ya no juegas, ¿no? And Jennifer answers, no. And Steven says, why? And Jennifer says, because it's a boring game. It's always a tie. ¿No? Siempre llegas a un empate. And Steven says, exactly. There's no way to win. No hay forma de ganar. The game itself, el juego en sí, is pointless. No sirve de nada. No, algo que tienes que hacer objetivo. But back at the war room, donde deciden todas las cosas, they believe you can win a nuclear war, que tú puedes ganar una guerra nuclear. That there can be acceptable losses, okay? Or as they call it now, collateral damage. All right, well, folks, the movie is War Games, and one from the past, or as we say in English, a blast from the past. Eso es como algo que me trae buenos recuerdos del futuro. O cuando ves a alguien que no has visto mucho tiempo, wow, that was a blast from the past. All right, folks, it's time for You're Joking.
Thank you. Okay, what did the guy say when he walked into the bar? Ouch. Ouch. You get it? Ouch. He walked into the bar.
You're joking.
That's right, amigos. You're joking, only on the show with no name. And man, seems like we've got some construction going on over here. Oh, man, how am I supposed to concentrate? This is incredible. All right, well, we might as well take a look at some tool jokes. No, unos chistes que tienen que ver con herramientas. Well, if they're going to be hammering away over there. Oh, my God, this is really distracting. All right. Well, let's look at some Tool jokes. Seriously. Okay. Well, not seriously, because then it's not jokes. Let's take a look at some Tool jokes. I thought I would nail it with this pun, but screw it. Let's take a look at some Tool jokes. I thought I would nail it with this pun, but screw it. No. I thought I would nail it. I've said that one on the show before. Clavarlo. You nailed it. Fijaos, la D va con el E. You nailed it. Lo clavaste. So I thought I'd nail it with this pun, but screw it. Olvídalo. Que le den, olvida. Nail, screw. Okay. All right. I thought it was funny. You got 2 for 1 over there. Dos por el precio de uno. 2 for 1 in our joke there. I thought the joke was quite riveting. Riveting? No. Riveting. Well, a rivet is un remache, roblón, something used in construction. And riveting means fascinating. Rivet. Okay. All right. Well, you know what, guys? Jackhammers are incredible. Now that we're on the topic of tools, jackhammers are incredible. Yeah, it's a real groundbreaking innovation. No? Jackhammers are wonderful. It's a really groundbreaking invention. No? All right. Well, what is a jackhammer? A jackhammer is un martillo neumático. Okay? A jackhammer. That's the thing that goes ta 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 ta. I think it's probably that and maybe a saw are the loudest things on a construction site. So do you get it now? Jackhammer, rompe el suelo. It's groundbreaking. Es revolucionario. All right. Fine. All right, last one here. A construction worker got arrested. And you know why? Because he was handling his wood in public. What? He was handling, manipulando, llevaba en mano, right? He was handling his wood in public. Wood, madera. Also, if you have wood, you've got an erection. You got wood. Morning wood is, guys, hello? So a construction worker got arrested because he was handling his wood in public. Oh, and by the way, tool, the word tool, además de ser un grupo de música y ser una herramienta, tool is also penis, and also tool is also un capullo. This guy's a tool. So es una palabra. That tool has a big tool. A saw? No. The one he got from nature. All right. They weren't the greatest jokes in the world, but hopefully you learned something with those double meanings. It's time to move on, though, to famous birthday trivia. That's right, amigos. It's famous birthdays, and we've got to fly through our famous birthdays today. The first person was born in 1968. An English-Welsh singer-songwriter, guitarist, and producer. His last name is Gris. Escrito a la americana. Gris is his last name. We looked at that word in our homophone section. One of my favorite songs of his is Sail Away With Me, Honey. Take my heart in your hand. But one of the songs that made him really famous is Babylon, and the album was White Ladder, and he that basically was his breakthrough album. It was groundbreaking. His last name is Gris. Number 2, she was born in 1962. She was in War Games, today's Name That Movie, The Breakfast Club, Short Circuit. Oh, me encanta esas películas. Johnny Number 5, El Robot. Oh, man, that was awesome stuff. St. Elmo's Fire, Made to Order. I got to be honest with you. I had a crush on her when I was back in the 80s. I had a crush on her. Oh, yeah. And last but not least, this person was born in 1953. He got famous on a show called Home Improvements, where he had a show in a show. So he hosted a tool show called Tool Time. And it was about him hosting that show. And, well, they called him the Tool Guy, the Tool Man or the Tool Guy. And he became known for that. He was a stand-up comedian before that. And then I think the moment that he really blew up is when he voiced Buzz Lightyear. And that was the end. But he's been in many movies. He's in the Santa Claus franchise of movies as well. But I'll always remember him as Tool Time, baby, and the Tool Guy. And also now, Buzz Lightyear. All right, let's see. Our winner here, Kubla. Number 1, David Gray. Number 2, Ali Sheedy. And number 3, Tim Allen. Tim Allen, who plays Buzz Lightyear, among others. And this is him when he first arrives in Toy Story to Andy's room. And he goes, Star Command, come in. ¿Me copias? Star Command, come in. Do you read me? ¿Me copias? ¿Me oyes? Why don't they answer? And then he gasps. He goes, my ship, blast. And blast is like saying, recorcholis. He goes, we looked at a blast from the past before. Blast. This will take weeks to repair. This will take weeks to repair. My ship is run off course en route to Sector 12. Okay, se ha perdido el rumbo, camino al Sector 12. I've crash landed on a strange planet. He's making observations right now, observing. And he goes, the impact must have awoken me from my hyper sleep. And folks, here he is, the one and only Tim Allen doing Buzz Lightyear to infinity and beyond.
Star Command, come in. Do you read me? Why don't they answer? My ship! Blast. This will take weeks to repair. My ship is run off course en route to Sector 12. I've crash landed on a strange planet. The impact must have awoken me from hypersleep.
All right, folks, it's time for Name That Lyric.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is. No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. Name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. It's name that lyric only on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos, and thank you for another amazing show. It's been a blast, as always. I can't believe how fast this 2 hours just flies by every day, and that's thanks to you guys and the magic you bring. Thank you for listening, for watching, for participating, for everything. And make sure you stay tuned, and the possible side effects, efectos colaterales, secundarios, you're going to love English. That's right, with Ximena Holiday and her program Test Your English. The song, I'll give it to you, it's David Gray, Babylon. Now, this is a beautiful song, but this is just one of his many, many beautiful songs. But it became his signature song because it's the one that put him on the map, as we say, or it made him a household name. If if you're a household name, eres un nombre que se conoce en todo el mundo. All right, amigos, thank you so much for being here. And I hope you enjoy this song. He says, Friday night, I'm going nowhere. No voy a ningún sitio. All the lights are changing green to red. Todos los semáforos cambian de verde a rojo. Turning over TV stations, cambiando canales. Situations running through my head. Mira el run otra vez. We already said to run into. Corriendo por mi cabeza. I think you say the same thing. All right. Well, amigos, thank you. And it's been an absolute pleasure. We'll be back tomorrow with more. I promise. Bye-bye.